started, like I said, feeling more and more comfortable as the weeks went on, and felt great this week. Really didn't, make a whole lot or take advantage of how I was hitting it, until I made a few yesterday to kind of get back and get things going.
Rickie Fowler just walked onto a golf course as a forgotten man and walked off as the story everyone couldn't stop talking about. One round, one performance, one moment that has the entire golf world asking the same impossible question. Is this real, or are we watching the cruelest tease in sports history? Let's get brutally honest about where Rickie Fowler was before this moment, because you need to understand how deep the hole was to appreciate how insane this is. In 2025, Rickie Fowler's name wasn't just absent from leaderboards, it had been completely erased from the conversation. 9 tournaments, 0 top 10s, not a single weekend where he was in contention. For a 6-time PGA Tour winner who once had the entire sport convinced he was destined for greatness, that's not a slump. That's a career ending in slow motion. His world ranking told an even more devastating story. 25th. For most players, that would be a dream. But for Rickie Fowler, a guy who was once top 5 in the free world, 25th felt like a death sentence. It meant he was hanging onto his PGA Tour card by his fingernails. It meant he was no longer chasing trophies or majors. He was just trying to survive, trying to make cuts, trying to remember what it felt like to matter in professional golf. And here's what made it so much worse. There were no excuses, no catastrophic injury, no scandal, no dramatic life change, just pure, undeniable decline. His swing had abandoned him, his confidence had evaporated, his putting stroke had become a liability that kept him awake at night. Week after week, he'd show up, grind through rounds, and walk away with nothing but frustration and the growing realization that maybe his time was over. Fans weren't angry about Rickie's decline. That would have required them to still care. Instead, they were forgetting him, moving on to the next generation of stars. And in sports, being forgotten is so much worse than being hated. At least hatred means you still matter. Being forgotten means you're already gone, a relic nobody thinks about anymore. By the time the Truist Championship rolled around in May 2025, Rickie Fowler couldn't even qualify to play. His ranking wasn't high enough. His recent performances hadn't earned him a spot, so he got in the only way a fading star can: a sponsor's exemption, a wild card invitation based on legacy and name recognition rather than current form. It was a favor, a nostalgic nod to the player he used to be, the kind of gesture that feels more like a farewell gift than a legitimate opportunity. Most players would treat a sponsor's exemption like a participation trophy, but something was different about Rickie Fowler when he arrived at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. You could see it in his eyes, feel it in his energy. This wasn't a farewell tour. This was desperation mixed with determination, a man who knew he was holding his last card and wasn't about to waste it. When reporters questioned why he even belonged in the field, Fowler didn't get defensive. He didn't make excuses. Instead, he said something that stopped everyone in their tracks. The negativity actually helps me. It motivates me to prove people wrong. That wasn't just talk. That was a declaration of war. And then came May 8, 2025, the first round of the Truist Championship. The Philadelphia Cricket Club, one of the oldest and most demanding courses in American golf. Tight fairways that punish even slight misses. Greens so tricky they've broken the confidence of champions. Rickie Fowler, a guy who'd been struggling to make cuts, was supposed to get chewed up and spit out. Instead, he did something nobody saw coming. The round started steady, professional, nothing spectacular. Clean pars on the opening holes. And then, like a switch flipped, Fowler caught absolute fire. Holes 4, 5, and 6. Birdie, birdie, birdie. 3 consecutive red numbers that lit up the leaderboard and made everyone watching do a double take. This wasn't supposed to be happening. But here's what made it even more dramatic. You could see the confidence building with every hole, every putt that dropped, every fairway he hit. This wasn't luck or a hot streak. This was Rickie Fowler remembering who he was, tapping into muscle memory and competitive fire that had been buried under months of frustration. The swagger was coming back. The fearlessness that once made him one of golf's most exciting players was returning in real time. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing for more golf insights. As he hit the back 9, the momentum kept building. Birdies on 11 and 13 kept the round going, kept the crowd buzzing, kept the announcers scrambling to figure out what they were watching. And then came the 16th hole, the moment that turned a great round into an unforgettable statement. A 25-foot downhill putt with more break than most players would dare attack. The kind of putt that sensible golfers play safe. Rickie Fowler attacked it. He read the break perfectly, committed completely, and watched the ball track toward the hole like it was magnetized. When it dropped dead center, the crowd absolutely erupted. People were on their feet, screaming, some literally crying, because they just watched a player they'd given up on deliver a shot that felt like redemption in physical form. That wasn't just a birdie. That was Rickie Fowler announcing to the golf world that he wasn't dead, wasn't finished, wasn't ready to fade quietly. When his final putt dropped on the 18th green, the scoreboard told a story that seemed impossible hours earlier. A stunning 63, 7 under par, tied with Collin Morikawa for the best round of the day, just 2 shots behind Keith Mitchell's course record 61. But nobody was talking about Mitchell or Morikawa. This day belonged to Rickie Fowler, the guy who wasn't even supposed to be there. That 63 wasn't just a good score, it was a message, a warning to every player who'd stopped, worrying about Rickie Fowler as competition. A reminder to every analyst who'd declared his career over. A statement to every fan who'd moved on to newer, younger stars. Rickie Fowler was telling the world that reports of his death had been greatly exaggerated. You could see it in how he carried himself after the round. No excessive celebration, no emotional outbursts, just quiet confidence, a calm nod, a signature on his scorecard, and a walk off the green that said everything without words. He wasn't surprised by what just happened. He'd known all along that the talent was still there, buried under doubt but never truly gone. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Headlines everywhere. Rickie turns back the clock. Fowler lights up Truist. ESPN, Golf Channel, Golf Monthly, every major outlet was suddenly scrambling to cover the story they'd been ignoring for over a year. Social media absolutely exploded with clips of that 16th hole putt, comments pouring in from fans who'd never stopped believing, and fans who were jumping back on the bandwagon. The PGA Championship gave him a special exemption shortly after that Truist performance, a vote of confidence that means something. The PGA of America doesn't hand out spots in major championships casually. They gave Rickie Fowler that exemption because they believe he's still capable of competing at the highest level, that he might still have one more great chapter left to write. So here we are, watching one of golf's most compelling comeback attempts unfold in real time. Will Rickie Fowler prove that Philadelphia was the beginning of something special? Will he silence the doubters, reward the believers, and finally deliver on the promise that's haunted him for over a decade? Or will this become just another beautiful, heartbreaking moment in a career defined by almosts and what-ifs? One thing is absolutely certain, Rickie Fowler isn't done fighting. That 63 in Philadelphia proved he's still got the talent, still got the fire, still got something left worth fighting for. Whether it's enough to complete one of golf's greatest comeback stories or just a brief reminder of what could have been, only time will tell. But right now, in this moment, Rickie Fowler has given us all a reason to believe again. And in sports, sometimes that's the most valuable thing a player can offer. Hope. The golden boy of golf might have disappeared for a while, but he's clawing his way back with everything he's got. And we can't look away.